All right, example 3. I do want you to write everything down for example 3, please and thank you. So find the distance from point 1, 0 to the line negative y equals negative x plus 3. And then this is going to be a question that comes up on the homework, on the quizzes. How do you find the distance from a point to a line? How do you find the distance from a point to a line? So I'm going to show you kind of the full process, and then you may want to rewatch this as well. All right, so the distance from a point, so here's my point. Remember, I want the perpendicular distance because I want the shortest distance. Now, this is kind of, it's a nice problem. It has a graph, it has whole numbers, so that's why I chose it. Some of the homework problems are not quite as nice, so I am going to go through kind of step by step. So the first thing I want is to find the slope of the line. So here's my line, right here. I can look at the equation, and my m, I can see the m right here is negative 1. So I'm going to call that line A. So the slope of line A equals negative 1. I also could count on my graph if it wasn't given to me. Down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. My rise over run is negative 1 over 1, or 1. So that's the slope of line A. I'm going to call it line A. Then, so that's my first step, is finding the slope of the line. Step 1 is you find the slope of the line. Step 2, I find the perpendicular slope. I find the slope of something perpendicular. So I'm going to take my slope, which was negative 1, I'm going to make it into a fraction. To make a fraction, if it's not a fraction, I add a 1 underneath. Now I need the opposite or negative reciprocal. So I take my fraction, negative 1 over 1, I flip it. Still 1 over 1, then I need to make it positive. All right, so the new slope is going to be positive 1. So that is step 2, finding the new slope, the perpendicular slope. All right, then I need to know where my lines meet. So what I know is I'm going to be starting right here at 1, 0, and my slope is going to be 1. So that is what I know. Okay, so the third step, let's see if I can label this for you guys. All right, the third step is we need an equation for this purple line. Okay, we need an equation, and yes, you can see on the graph, but you'll need to be able to do this full process, so I'm going to go through that. We need an equation for the line perpendicular that passes through 1, 0. So I'm going to write out my y equals mx plus b. Remember from last year, that's slope-intercept form. The m we just found above, the slope or m is positive 1. Then for my x and y, I'm going to use the point 1, 0. So in for y, I'm going to put 0. In for x, I'm going to get 1. Again, I got this from the point, plus b. 1 times 1 is 1. To solve for b, I subtract 1. So b is negative 1. So my whole equation is y equals 1x, because my slope was 1, minus 1. 1x minus 1. So that is the equation of this purple line. Okay? Then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my two equations. So here's the equation we just wrote. Here's the equation that was given to you. Okay, I'm going to take those two equations. This will be step 4. Whoops, I'm in highlighter mode. And I'm going to set those equations equal. I'm going to solve for x. So I'm going to set negative x plus 3 equal to 1x minus 1. And if you want to add a negative 1 right there, you can. And then I just solve. So I'm going to add 1x, add 1x. So I get 3 equals 2x minus 1. I add 1, 3 plus 1 is 4. Divide by 2, so x equals 2. I'm going to highlight that so I don't lose that. Okay, then you pick one equation. So I pick one, I'm going to zoom out here. So this is step 5, find y. So I take one equation, either my green equation or my yellow one, it doesn't matter. I'm going to use the green one. And it says y equals 1x minus 1. I'm going to put in my answer for x, which I found was 2. So 1 times 2 is 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. So my y is 1. So the point where these cross is going to be 2, 1. Now on this particular problem, since it was kind of an easier problem, you can see that point on the graph right here, 2, 1. So what I need to do is I need to find the distance from 2, 1 to 1, 0. So this is going to be x1, y1, x2, y2, and I'm going to use my distance formula. So I'm going to zoom out so I can fit it. So step 6, find distance. And the homework problems aren't going to give you a graph, so you do need to be able to use this process. Okay, so here's your distance formula. So x2 minus x1 is going to be 2 minus 1. y2 is 1 minus 0. So 1 minus 0. So 2 minus 1, I get 1. 1 minus 0, I also get 1. If I square 1, I get 1 plus 1, so my answer is the square root of 2. That's my final answer. Okay. So just to kind of recap that for you about what we did is we found the slope. That was step 1. We found the slope right up here. That was given to you in the problem, -1. Step 2, we found the perpendicular slope. The perpendicular to -1 was +1. Step 3, we wrote our equation, y equals mx plus b, using this point and the slope from step 2. Step 4, I set both equations, 1x minus 1 and -x plus 3, I set them equal. I solved for x. Step 5, I used my x of 2, plugged it in, found my y. Step 6, I found the distance between the point that I found and the point that was given to me. So that's what the summary is going to ask you, to write out these steps so you can refer back to the video if needed. All right, so for the homework, there's actually going to be 2 homework assignments today. So you're going to do homework 3-4 mostly, and then homework 3-5, there are 2 problems, which are like the last example. Okay, so if you need help on those, let me know. Here's a summary. What is a perpendicular bisector? That was a vocab word. Red question, how is distance between a point and a line related to perpendicular lines? So something about the shortest distance, right? The shortest distance from a point to a line is the perpendicular segment. The black question, summarize how to find the distance. I want you to write out those 6 steps that we just covered in the last example. All right, have a great day.